You know, life has a funny way of letting you think you're headed somewhere important. Right up until the day you realize you've been walking in the wrong direction. And the funny part is, the road never argues with you. The road's perfectly happy letting you keep going. I was listening to Arlo Guthrie tell the story of John Newton. It stayed with me a long time after the song was over. Here's a fellow who spent years at sea, captaining ships and carried human beings as if they were cargo instead of somebody's son, somebody's daughter, somebody who laughed, cried, prayed, and dreamed of going home. That's a hard thing to carry around, whether you admit it or not. Then somewhere along the way, and life doesn't always tell us exactly when, something inside him changed. Maybe it was a storm. Maybe it was a prayer. Maybe it was finally hearing what his own conscience had been whispering all those years. Whatever it was, he didn't simply write Amazing Grace. He decided to live it. He admitted he'd been wrong. Now you think that would be the end of the story. It wasn't. He spent the rest of his life walking backward toward the people his younger self had walked away from. He spoke against the slave trade. He worked for its end. He helped bend history, one conviction, one confession, one courageous step at a time. That's not erasing the past. That's answering it. And the funny thing about turning around, from a distance, it looks like failure. Up close, it looks like a whole lot of courage. Because pride keeps saying, keep going. You've already come this far. And wisdom quietly replies, maybe. But you still got further to go. I've known people who carried old grudges like family heirlooms. Folks who kept defending mistakes because they'd already invested years in them. We've all done something like that. Sometimes we stay wrong just because we've been wrong for a long time. But years don't make a mistake true. They only make it older. There's no shame in facing a new sunrise with different eyes. The map that once guided you does not have to become your prison. The direction you inherited does not have to become your destination. Life is generous with second beginnings, but only for those willing to stop marching toward yesterday. The world doesn't need more people who never change their minds. It needs people brave enough to admit they've found a better one. So if grace whispers your name, don't argue with it. If compassion asks you to change, welcome the invitation. If love points behind you and says, there's another way, don't be afraid of the distance back. Every redeemed life is built upon a turning. Every healing begins with a single honest step. You may never get back everything you lost. None of us can. But you might become the kind of person who helps someone else find freedom. And that's a pretty good reason to change course. Don't be afraid to turn around. Sometimes the holiest direction is the one that leads you home. Be nice, be kind, and be the greatest expression of you.